Arsenal have a big decision to make. In fact, there's two huge decisions that I want to speak about on this video. And yes, one of them are transfer related. We're going to get straight into it though. But before we do, very quickly, do me a favor, please just hit like on this video. So I'm going to start this with a very quick question. And it's a very simple one. Martinelli we saw on the right-hand side for Arsenal. And there's a lot of discussion around that right-hand side. And I just want to ask you guys, who do you think is the best player to play on the right-hand side in the absence of Bukayo Saka? I think there's three options. Martinelli made the cut for the last game. Do you think that's the right decision? If not, who would you want to see playing right wing in the next game for Arsenal? Look, I think, like I said, there's three players. Martinelli we saw against Ipswich, and although he wasn't brilliant, I thought he was okay. Like, I thought he'd done a job, but it just comes down to the fact that Arsenal probably need a player on the right wing to do more than just a job. We need more than just a body out there. We need someone who can thrive in that position. Now, I think it's also difficult because it's going to be hard not to judge the player by Bukayo Saka's standards, and that probably is the wrong thing to do if we're being honest. Because Bukayo Saka is the top two right wingers in the world. So no matter who we put in that position, there's always going to be a fullback in terms of ability. They're not going to be as good or as effective as Bukayo Saka. That being said, it doesn't mean we don't have an option to play out there who can still be effective. Is Martinelli the guy? Like I said, let me know. In my opinion, honestly, I probably give him one more game to see what he can offer. I think he done some nice things against Ipswich without being outstanding. He played a couple of nice balls. I do want to see more from Martinelli in that position. And this is where the second guy could come in. Nwaneri. I think this could be a perfect position for Nwaneri. Now, I know naturally he probably prefers playing centrally, but we've seen when he plays for Arsenal, even centrally, he does have a tendency to drift out wide. There was parts of a certain game where he was going beyond Raheem Sterling on that right wing, and we've seen him in those positions pick up the ball and be effective. I guess another bonus is that he's left-footed like Bukayo Saka, so he does have the ability to chop inside and use that left foot, of which we know can be effective. We've seen him score some long-range goals. We've seen him be effective in his link-up play with Odegaard, with other players as well. So Nwaneri is an interesting option. And I think it could be a good chance for Nwaneri to try and solidify a position in this first team, like how we've seen with Miles Lewis-Skelly. Probably not his most natural position, left-back Lewis-Skelly, but he was given the opportunity, and now you're probably looking at it and saying, I don't see an option that I would rather have instead of Lewis-Skelly in that position. We've got Calafiori on the bench. To me, Lewis-Skelly owns that left-back position until something changes. Until maybe his performances drop and then someone else gets given the opportunity. I don't tinker with that left-back position because Miles Lewis-Skelly has earned it. I see a similar thing that can happen with Nwaneri. If we give him the chance to show what he can do out on that right-hand side, he might just surprise us. He might just be a great right winger. Bukayo Saka coming to the team. Where did he play? Left back. And he was given the chance to play right wing. He earned his position and he's kept it. Nwaneri probably prefers playing centrally. He could be given the opportunity on a right wing and he could grab it. He could play so well that, you know, there might be a tough decision to make in a couple of months when Bukayo Saka comes back. And you might say, Nwaneri, I can't drop you from this team. I might have to move you over to the left-hand side to get Bukayo Saka in. I just see this as a perfect opportunity for a young player like Nwaneri, who so many fans are so excited about. We've seen the ability in the youth teams. We've seen the ability when he comes into the Arsenal first team. Now, he's not like for like exactly with Saka. I don't think he has maybe not the same pace as Saka or a Martinelli on that right-hand side to really beat a man. I don't think he's slow. You see when Nwaneri plays, he kind of glides across the pitch. He's very graceful, very technical. So, again, I would like to see him in that position just to see what he could offer. And I think the third option is Gabriel Jesus. And that's where I think Nwaneri may have a problem in getting into this team, because it would just be Mikel Arteta saying that I see Nwaneri above Gabriel Jesus in this pecking order. Gabriel Jesus, the last couple of games, or before the last game, you know, scored 5 goals in 2 games, so you couldn't drop him from that central forward position. Played in the last game, and although he did score, it was offside, so he didn't officially get a goal. So Gabriel Jesus could be given the chance to show what he can do on that right-hand side. Now, if Gabriel Jesus plays on the right-hand side, you're not going to see the same level of output that Bukayo Saka gets, because with Gabriel Jesus, it's always been a player that it's like, I hope he can come into some, like, I hope he keeps scoring. He kind of goes through these phases where you're thinking, well, he's had 3 goals in 2 games, or like he does, like he goes through a couple of game period where he scores goals, and then he plays 5, 6, 7, 8 games where he doesn't score a goal, where it's like he could score a goal, he should score a goal, but it just doesn't come. But you can't deny Gabriel Jesus is a great player, so whether Mikel Arteta decides he's the option out on that right-hand side, that will be interesting. I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts on who you play on the right wing, because I think that's the first decision Arsenal will have to make. They have to get it right. Who's going to play right wing? Is it Martinelli, Nwaneri, or Gabriel Jesus? Now let's speak about some transfer news, because there are 3 players that seem to be continuously linked with a move to Arsenal. The first one we spoke about, and that is Cunha. A very decent option. I wouldn't mind seeing what he can do at Arsenal. I actually thought this was the guy that Man City were buying from Wolves. When I heard Man City are buying a Wolves player, I automatically assumed it would be Cunha, just because of how good he is. I'm surprised he hasn't been snapped up yet. I think he is a higher level than Wolves. So whether Arsenal decide to make that player the one that they go for, we'll have to wait and see. Is he the guy that could take Arsenal to the next level? I think the next 2 guys we're going to speak about potentially have the ability to take Arsenal to that next level. The first one is Kudos. I think he's unbelievable. The more I watch him, the more I'm impressed with him, because at first I just thought he was this quick guy who has the ability to score a goal. But he's so technical, so fast, so good at playing short little 1-2s, and his brain is almost like it's one step ahead of everyone else. Like, honestly, the more I watch him, I watched him yesterday, and although West Ham got slapped by Liverpool, he still is that bright spark. He's still the guy that you look at and think, if anything is going to come from this West Ham team, he will 100% be behind it, because the way he plays, it's electric. And it is so clever. Like I said, the small, intricate plays where he reads the game and plays a little ball and then kind of dummies and gets away from the player or draws the player out. He's just always so good. So Kudos, if he was linked with a move to Arsenal, I would be interested in seeing what he could do for sure. And the third one is Isak. But at £150 million, it's probably not a deal that you could expect to happen, if I'm being honest. Look, I like the player. So many people have got Isak at the top of their shopping list. Some people have Gyökeres, some people have Isak, both of which I think could do a brilliant job for Arsenal. Both would be better options than what we currently have. But at 150 million, I don't see the deal getting done. Much with Kudos, it's kind of like, how much would the price tag be? Because we know Newcastle aren't going to sell for cheap. They're not in a rush to bring in massive money necessarily. West Ham, they don't like to let players go for cheap. We kind of had the whole Declan Rice thing where it's like, we want 100 million. And Arsenal, we ain't playing over 100 million. West Ham said, we want over 100 million. Arsenal's like, right, well, I guess we have to pay over 100 million. They're probably going to want a similar fee for Kudos. But if we can get in for about 70, 80, then that's probably the going rate for a great player that you will have to pay in today's market. But 150 million for Isak, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money, especially when his contract talks are stalling. He doesn't seem to be willing to have that conversation in terms of extending his deal with Newcastle. So Arsenal can use that to their advantage for sure and say, look, he's not even willing to sign a new contract. The more you stall on letting him go at a reasonable price, the more his value is going to drop. So that will be a bargaining tool that Arsenal could definitely use. But out of those 3 players, I like the thought of Kudos and Isak, but you would have to get Isak at a reasonable price. If any of those 2 come in, I would be over the moon. Very, very excited. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could, do me a favour very quickly and just hit like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.